These women had their heads shaved. But why? To understand this, we have to go back to the summer of 1944, when France was finally being liberated after years of brutal Nazi occupation. As Allied forces pushed forward and the French resistance rose up, cities like Paris erupted in celebration. The German army was retreating. The nightmare seemed to be ending. But alongside the joy, there was anger, deep, burning anger. Because the enemy wasn't just the German soldiers leaving the country, it was also their own people. During the occupation, some French citizens had chosen to collaborate with the Nazis. They worked with them, supported them, or in some cases built relationships with them. And when liberation came, the question wasn't just about freedom, it was about revenge. Among those accused were thousands of women. Some had worked as translators, secretaries, or informants for the German forces. Others had romantic or personal relationships with German soldiers. And some were simply suspected. No proof, no trial. Just whispers, rumors, and suspicion. In those chaotic days, France didn't yet have a fully restored legal system. Courts were not ready. Law and order hadn't caught up with the sudden collapse of occupation. So justice took a different form. It came from the streets. Women were dragged from their homes by angry crowds or resistance groups. They were taken into public squares, surrounded by shouting people. And then, in front of everyone, their heads were shaved. Hair fell to the ground as crowds watched. Some cheering, some silent, some filled with rage. For many of these women, this wasn't just punishment. It was humiliation. Afterwards, some were marked with swastikas painted on their bodies. Others were forced to wear signs labeling them as collaborators. Many were paraded through the streets, exposed to public shame. This practice became known as les femmes tondues, the shorn women. It was meant to send a message, a symbol of purification, a way for France to show that it was cleansing itself, cutting away those who had betrayed the nation. But the reality was far more complicated. Historians estimate that more than 20,000 women were subjected to this treatment between 1944 and 1946, and many of them were never formally charged with any crime. Some were guilty, but others were punished simply for surviving the occupation in the only ways they could, for forming relationships, for making choices under pressure, or sometimes for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. There were no fair trials, no proper investigations, just anger, pain, and a desperate need for someone to blame. Photographs and film from that time still exist. They show smiling crowds, furious men, and terrified women, being stripped not just of their hair, but of their dignity. To some, this was justice, a necessary reckoning after years of suffering and betrayal. But to others, it was something darker, mob vengeance, disguised as patriotism. A moment where the line between justice and cruelty completely disappeared. And so, we're left with a haunting question. When a nation is healing from war, how far is too far in the name of justice? Were these acts a form of rightful punishment? Or just another tragedy, born from the chaos of war?